Y'all, could She News get Sheree sued? That's the question that we got to ask ourselves. Okay. So, as you guys know, Candy Burris tends to release, clips of Speak on It before the episode actually airs, right? And sometimes it seems as though they can release clips based on whether or not a preview clip has been released from the episode, right? So what do I mean? So a couple of things. A couple of things. One, we have talked about the clips that have been released with regards to Sheree revealing, the text messages between Ty and Candy is referencing that, or at least that moment from the episode, because it's already been released as a preview by the network, right? So as Candy has released her preview for Speak On It, she's addressing those text messages, but she's also addressing She News. All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, she talks about how, and I'm pointing you guys to the Candy Burris fan page, and they posted, two clips from the episode of Speak On It that's going to come out. So that preview clip is there. Warning, let me go ahead and do this for the people who are afraid or dislike spoilers. This is going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert. So just hold on to your horses, hit the mute button and keep watching, or whatever you need to do to make yourself happy. Okay. But getting back to what I was saying, she talks about She News, and she talks about how, if Sheree is going to be posting and talking about having people subscribe, and I don't know if there was this intent to have people pay for the subscription or not, or I don't know what it was going to be. Candy says if you are going to be using her photos and photos of her family, Sheree, you might want to, as the post indicates, tread lightly, because you're not going to be using her images to sell, because it could potentially, I don't know, seemingly get you sued. Okay. Candy is like, you're not going to be using my stuff, okay, selling my images and you making the coin from it. Now, to be, of course, do my due diligence, I said, well, the Speak On It clip has been up for at least, let me see if I can tell, a good 21 hours at the point of this recording. Now, at this point, the video has 37,000 views. But also at this point, as you guys can see, Exhibit A, She News official, is still up and the running. Okay. And you can see here that there is a subscription, but I don't know that it's a paid subscription. So I don't know. Can there be lawsuit? I don't know. Do I think that Candy will actually sue? No, probably not. Probably not. I don't even think it will be really worth it at this point, because I don't really think it's gonna go nowhere. I mean, for Sheree, I think that Sheree loves fashion on her, but I don't think that Sheree is passionate enough about fashion to really pursue it as seriously as maybe we, the audience, may want her to. As a result, I definitely don't think that she has the passion for She News, other than it being the moment that it was on the episode of the reunion. But you guys, let me know what you think. I am not a legal expert. All commentary is alleged. I'm just telling you what was on the screen, okay? You guys can watch the Speak On It clip for yourself. I will put it in the description of this video. And it's kind of more of a warning, more than that I took it as a threat. More of a warning, like, girl, tread lightly. All right. She also talks a little bit about how she felt like the editing of the first episode of the reunion was a little bit skewed or one-sided in the sense that, they showed the entire She News clip or whatever, but then they did not show, at least based on the clip of the preview that we have seen. And I'm assuming that Candy's seen the entire episode, given that the Speak On It episode will be coming out right after the episode of Atlanta. That we're not going to really see much of those text messages that are allegedly between Ty and Drew that Sheree allegedly received in the heat of the night down to her chateau. Okay, on the doorstep of her chateau. Again, the question is, how did they make it over the gates? Did you just let them in? I mean, was it the boogie? Like, who put the? I'm still stuck on that. We don't get to see those. I don't think we're going to get to see those text messages at all. Now, let's talk about the whys of that. Okay, why might we not see these text messages? I would assume maybe that if, I mean, it could be a couple of things. One, it could be to protect Drew and Ty's privacy. I'm not necessarily sure. It is alleged that these are messages between Drew and Ty. She kind of waffles about really whether or not they're her. I mean, they really are hers or not. But maybe because they belong to a person who's not necessarily on the show is why they didn't really show them. Kandi does indicate in the Speak On It clip that they did indeed read the text messages out loud. So for her, I guess she was wondering why they didn't air any of that. But they spent a lot of time focused on the She News. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there was some attempt there made to protect Drew as she's going through this whole divorce situation. I really don't know. But we do know from Kandi's Speak On It and from Andy that there were some pretty incriminating things that were on those text messages. So, I don't know. More to come on that. Now, we also have to talk about Courtney. All right. So, thankfully, our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room happened to pick up a clip from the Morning Hustle show. Now, Courtney Rhodes was on the show. And to be truthful with you guys, I have not watched the entire thing. But I did want to alert you to something that I did find, and I think that even the Bravo Shade Room wanted to pull out of that, was that Courtney talks about the car accident that left her face disfigured. Now, if you've seen maybe either Speak On It with Kenya, or if you've seen Kenya in some of her interviews, talking about Courtney, she does talk out or ask, I think, why Courtney talks out of the side of her face or something to that effect. So in this instance, Courtney is letting us know that she says that she was in a car accident. All right. Assuming when she was younger and maybe when she was a kid, I'm not necessarily sure. And she indicates that she could choose to get her face fixed, but it would require her to get her jaw broken, I think, or maybe about at least $10,000 in a lot of pain. And then she goes on to say, but she chooses not to because I'm assuming that maybe she works with kids or she wants to show kids who have been through something similar that they don't have to change anything about themselves. I'm not really sure what it was. I assume, honestly, it's a personal choice that she is making, and that is absolutely fine. Um, do you guys feel as though Kenya judged this woman and the way that she speaks unfairly? Do you think that that feeds into the mean girl-ness that Courtney is claiming about Kenya? Here's what I will say about Courtney, and I think my experience. I've had this conversation with several people, like just in and out of, who are casual fans of the show, and some kind of wonder, about Courtney's place on the show. And I've tried to sort of emphasize this point that, for Courtney, it's a bit of a hard pill to swallow when someone new comes on one of our beloved shows and they immediately sort of get into it with someone that is very beloved on the show, and then follow that up with getting into it with someone else who is very beloved on the show, as well as taking a very interesting stance in the disillusion of a marriage under the guise of being related to, but not really. So, because of all that, and the fact that we only get Courtney's story from the lens of really the other ladies and some confessionals sprinkled in and out of the season, I do feel like Courtney comes into the situation at a disadvantage because we don't know her backstory. We don't know enough about her to really dive deep into the caring of her as much as we have potentially with some of the other ladies who we've known for years or decades, or at least over a decade, if that. So I think that Courtney will be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. And I think those are some of the reasons why. There are some people who will actually love the fact that Courtney stands up for herself and says whatever is on her mind, or stands so hard for Ralph, or, calls Kenya to the carpet, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with those people that like that. But I also feel like there's a reason why a lot of people are having a hard time reconciling their any type of positive feelings about Courtney. And I think that for me, from what I can see, those would be some of the reasons. However, I think that's also always going to be the case with someone who comes in as a new friend, and we have to digest them being very pointed and direct and not silent about how they feel, whether we feel like it's right, wrong, or indifferent. All right. So it's a kind of a middle of the road. I wanted to take an objective look at the Courtney situation because I've never really been able to really dive deep into why I think it is that the audience is so divided about her. But and the overwhelming majority seem to dislike her. I think that these could be some of the reasons why, and why and this is again another reason. We did not know this information before. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's not a part of her story on the show. And so we have to find these nuggets in and around interviews that have been sprinkled across the internet. You know what I'm saying? To really get a full picture of who exactly Courtney Rhodes really is. But thankfully, we have these types of clips to help us become more informed about, who she is, her story, and what she's been through, and whether or not you guys think that she is worthy of holding a peach in the future. All right, with that being said, enough of my TED Talk. With that, make sure you guys comment your thoughts and your feelings down below. If you agree, if you disagree, I welcome all opinions. With that being said, y'all know it's Sunday Fun Day. I love y'all, and we are out.
So, Desiree Davenport, what are you hoping to accomplish with this show?
Honestly, I've lost everything in the most horrible way possible. And listen, I want it all back. I'm willing to build it piece by piece, and I mean brick by brick.
Oh, honey, she is done. I bet you a Birkin she doesn't last all season with us. Just watch.
I'm Misha Hill, and I'd like to consider myself the matriarch of this dynamic group of ladies. I mean, someone has to keep them under control.
I'm Davita Delaney.
I think I could teach these ladies a thing or two about how to get and keep a good man.
They said she was a gold digger. She ain't that for me.
I'm just really looking forward to being surrounded by other empowering bosses.
Yes, I know exactly what she's doing. And if she keep playing in my face, I'm gonna have to let her off her dirty little secrets just like she did to me. And I'm not playing.
Let's get this straight. If I brought you into this circle, I just as easily can take you out. She ain't running nothing over here, okay? She needs to be worried about running that household and worried about why that husband of hers is never at home.
Oh, hell.
Ooh, child, this is about to be a mess.
Oh my God, I hate mess. What in the world did I get myself into?